Razibar, and welcome to the 43rd episode of the Demons from Outer Space. Joining me as always, Dylan McCandless, a.k.a. Super DM64.
Hello, YouTube.
Dylan, we're back, bro! We're back!
Yes, we've missed the past 2 weeks because we have been some sick-ass motherfuckers.
Well, we technically haven't recorded in 3, I think. Because the last time we recorded was the night before Halloween, which was like 3 weeks ago, right?
I only remember us canceling twice, though. There was the week that I canceled, and then there was last week when you canceled. I don't remember us doing any more cancellations. Well, there are 4 weeks in the month, right? And next week is Thanksgiving, so this is only the...
True.
We only missed 2.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, it feels like longer because the last one we did was the 1 year, which means it hasn't been as long for the listeners, but it's been longer for us not having spoken because we also... we talked last... What am I thinking? I'm thinking we haven't, spoken to each other in weeks, and we did the Doctor Who videos last weekend.
Was that last weekend?
So, I think so, yeah.
I thought that was... No, you're right. No, it was the week before last, because that was the week that I canceled.
Fair enough. Okay, so less than... A little over a week ago we spoke, so it hasn't been too long.
Listen, for two dudes who live in completely different states, it has not been that long.
No, word, totally. But Dylan and I have both been fighting various illnesses. Not Ebola, for those of you wondering. Though we did definitely consider that.
There was a moment when I was at the doctor's office when I thought, oh shit, what if this is Ebola?
Did you really think that?
I mean, mostly jokingly, but there's always that nagging feeling in the back of your brain like, oh shit, this might be Ebola.
This is going to be the one time where I'm joking, and then it's going to turn out you just shat out your entire respiratory system.
I mean, I wasn't having any dysentery at the time, but that could have always come later.
I literally shat out my own asshole. That's not supposed to happen, is it? No.
How does that?
I don't know why your doctor is Canadian, but it's my fantasy.
How does that come out? That's like a door walking through itself. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, that's exactly what Dylan. It's Ebola. That's the only explanation you need. Ebola.
You should have grabbed a cough drop. That's what I did.
I'm not really that. The cough isn't really the problem of what I have. More of what I had was because we were both sick, and I too thought I had Ebola for like a split second.
And then I realized, oh wait, I'm a fucking idiot. That's stupid. There's no.
Well, no, I had the ass problems. So I was like, oh shit.
Oh shit, and there were cases in your state, so it was actually plausible, dude.
Well, yeah, I mean, listen, no. Especially since how I got it, wink wink. But that wink could have been anything. It could have been like fucking a Thai hooker and could have gotten it, but Dylan knows what I'm referring to, and that's all that counts.
He could have let a prostitute shit in his mouth, and then he would have had Ebola.
I mean, I would prefer telling them the real reason over that, but sure. In the great universe, in this great universe of ours, that is certainly a possibility. But I had a really bad headache, and I had really bad pains. Like, my whole body hurt, and I had a really high fever. I think I got up to, 102, I think, unless I'm exaggerating.
Sounds like the AIDS. No, I'm kidding. I have no idea. Yeah. I have no idea what the symptoms of the AIDS are.
I think I might have had, I don't think I had the flu, though, because I only had it for, 4 days, so... And don't flus usually last, a week?
I don't know. See, I had a viral cold. And the doctor that I went to, which is a monumentous occasion in and of itself, because I hardly ever go to the doctor unless I'm...
I didn't go to the doctor this time.
Unless I'm feeling rewarmed to death, I do not go to the doctor. But I went to the doctor this time because my...
And he was like, Mr. McCandless, you are clinically dead.
Because my entire head was just pain. So I went to the doctor. Yeah. And she said that I had a viral cold, and she said, all we can do is treat the symptoms because we can't give you an antibiotic, which is disappointing for me. I was hoping that it would just be bacterial. They could have given me an antibiotic. I could have killed the bastards and been done with it.
Right, because it's viral, okay.
But it's viral, so they couldn't do that. So all I could really do was treat the symptoms.
Sucks.
And she was like, right. Most people, this will last about 10 to 14 days, could be long.
Right, it's got to run its course.
Could be less, could be longer. Luckily, I kicked all of the bad symptoms really quickly. Right now, I just have a cough because I have leftover mucus.
Right.
That's a thing that tends to happen to me every winter, so I'm good with that.
Yeah, I had an upper respiratory. Yeah, I usually get something like that every year. I don't know. The thing I just had doesn't really count as that, though, because it was more of I'm going to die. I don't know what the fuck happened to me. I just, had this weird, I wouldn't even call it a 24. I guess you could consider it a 24-hour bug, but it lasted a little bit more than 24 hours. Like it lasted like 2 or 3 days. And then the fourth, I still don't feel great. But it's certainly better. I don't know what I had, but it was bad.
It also doesn't help that it's fucking freezing outside.
Yeah, it wasn't that cold when I first got sick, but now it was 27 degrees today, and I had to like drive all over Long Island because I had a hell of a day. I also, I wasn't feeling good still. I went to class, which I hadn't been to in 5 days, and then I went to traffic court, following up on that ticket that I talked about a couple episodes ago. So I had to go there today. And I drove around there in 27-degree weather. And then when I got there, I had to wait for my father, who took a separate car and was driving from further out on the island. And took him about 15 minutes to get there post me getting there. And I had to stand outside because if I went in, they wouldn't have let him in. Because you have to, if you bring somebody with you, you have to bring them in with you. Because that's just the bullshit that the New York State Traffic Court decides to employ on the people who go there. And, so I had to wait for him outside. I couldn't feel my ears. There's always that really painful, horrible feeling when you step from the freezing cold into a warm indoors where your ears just hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're because they're numbed and then they're feeling sensation again. So it fucking sucks. So it really sucked. Traffic court, by the way, is one of the most boring things that you can ever do in your life.
I imagine it's got all of the appeal of the DMV mixed with the excitement of court.
Yeah, it's not even it's called traffic court. It's more of like McDonald's, but by the state. Because here's what it is. I don't know if you've ever been, Dylan. Have you had the pleasure of going to your state's traffic court?
What? No.
So basically what you do is you're pulled over by a young, strapping, 45-year-old, balding guy who can barely speak English on the LIE, or not in your case, but speak in New York terms. And he tells you that you were going over the speed limit, which I was. He was absolutely right. I absolutely deserved to be pulled over. I wasn't denying that. And then you were given a ticket which tells you that you may either mail it in and accept all the charges or appear in court and go for a plea bargain 2 months from now. And I was like, you better fucking believe I'm going to do a plea bargain. Because the ticket that I got in New York State would have been 6 points on my license and would have paid a hefty fine because it would have been considered reckless driving. And see, I didn't see what I was doing as reckless driving. I saw what I was doing as war, because the LIE, Dylan, we were on it when you were here in New York. It's like a fucking battlefield of manic New Yorkers trying to get to their respective homes, and they're trying to cut each other off and beeping and slamming on the brakes. That's what driving on the LIE is like.
Which road was this?
This was the one that led directly to LaGuardia.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
Remember when we got off the Northern State and we got onto that 3-lane road that took us into Queens? That's what the LIE is.
Listen, I just remember anything involving LaGuardia involving just like death and despair.
Right. That happens. So you're pulled over. For fighting in a war. And you go to traffic court, and they bring you into this big conference room, that's what they call it, where there's like a bunch of green benches. It basically looks exactly like the DMV, where it's a bunch of...
Bill, I gotta ask you this. When you were pulled over, did you instantly in your head start going over the list of Chris Rock's How Not to Get Your Ass Beat by the Police?
Actually, as a matter of fact, I did.
Excellent.
And then I was like, shit, I'm white. This all changes.
I didn't know I couldn't do that.
Which was not a racial... I didn't mean that in a racist sense. I meant that in a reference to the original bit, but, Anyway. Awkward. So, I go to traffic court, and they sit you down, and, everybody, like, there's this whole air of, like... It's very... Going to traffic court is very awkward, because there's this air of, like, everybody's really kind of polite, but it's almost like this condescending, like, we pulled you over, fuck you, and you have to be polite to us because you don't want to get put in jail or whatever, or have a worse fine put on you.
Condescending politeness makes you uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
That just sort of...
And,
see, I'm used to that, because that just sort of is the South.
But it's also like this awkward, like nobody wants to, because it's like nobody wants to be there, so they're all there, they're all like trying to not kill themselves, and it's like this really awkward kind of Okay.
That was bizarre. Everything just went black, and then I was like, oh shit, what happened?
Your computer overheated then.
Could be.
Or did you have to reboot it?
No, it was like it went into sleep mode without me telling it to.
Were you touching it when it did? Did you have your hand on your keyboard or whatever when you were talking?
I mean, I'm playing solitaire.
Oh, okay, all right. So then that's really weird. Then I don't know what the fuck. My computer will do that sometimes when it overheats, but it turns off and I have to reboot it.
Yeah, see, my computer has done that to me before as well. The other thing is my computer really wants me to restart to install updates so for a minute I thought that's what it was doing, and I was like, oh shit, that's going to take forever. Right. But that does not appear to be what happened. So hopefully that will be all in terms of technical difficulties, and as soon as we're done with this call, I will reboot the computer.
Right, indeed. Well, we're still recording, so we can just jump back in. So aside from that hiccup, where was I? Traffic court. So I compared it to McDonald's, and that's exactly what it's like. And you go up, they call your name because you give your ticket to the dude. So there's this security guard up front who takes all the tickets and hands them out to the attorneys, who are basically like cashiers at McDonald's.
Mm.
And it's set up almost exactly. And then they call you up like you're getting your order called up, and you go up there. You give them your driver's license, and then basically they decide your fate. You really don't have much input. Like, my dad came with me, and he was like, here's what you're gonna say. You're driving home from school. You were just trying to keep up with traffic. You've never gotten a pull over before. You have a clean license, and you're really sorry, and you want to plea bargain. You want to work something out. I'm like, all right, cool. Although I'm like, work something out. Like, when he said that, I was like, well, what kind of, like, clout do I have to throw around? Like, when you say, let's work something out, usually you have some kind of, like negotiate. Like, when Walter White in Breaking Bad says, we're going to work this out, usually he's like, I've got this complex chemical compound that will blow the fuck out of the whole building if you don't do what I want.
You are really overreacting to traffic court, aren't you?
I am. But that's, like, what it means, though. It's like you have some kind of, like, thing in your pocket where it's like, ooh, I have this. I didn't have that. It's like, I'm a kid, and I've never dealt with this before, so I'm basically just, like, going to get my fate.
I mean, to be fair, if I was in a legal situation and I heard the phrase work something out, I'd be thinking, great, I'm going to be in a fucking chain gang or something.
So I go up to the counter, and the guy I got was nice, and he was like, you've got a clean record, nothing police-wise, nothing traffic-wise before this or after this, so we're going to knock this down as low as possible, so we're going to make it... I don't think he brought it down all the way to a parking ticket, which still isn't a good thing. But parking ticket is way better than reckless driving. Because parking ticket, they don't put any points on your license.
You go in there, he's like, you have a clean record, Mr. Worcester, but we know about the weed. No.
Oh, God! Shut that up! I just, like, run out of the room. My pants fall down. Oh, that was the other thing.
We've listened to your podcast, and we've decided that maybe we need to put you somewhere.
Rehab. Boom. No! It turns out the lawyer is a big fan of SOS. No, that's never happened to me before. So he brings it down, and no points on my license, which is really the thing I was going for. I knew we were going to pay some kind of fine, and by we pay, I mean my dad would pay.
So it's like, do you require legal representation, or do you just...
No. You can, but that really overcomplicates things. You can just go up yourself.
So you did not, in fact, call Saul?
No, I did not call Saul. But the other thing is, it's not like they really let you speak at all. I mean, I did, because the guy was nice, and we were having kind of a friendly conversation. But which I'm sure the people behind me loved. But it was like, it's not like you really, like, it's not like you say your case. I mean, he reads the thing. He knows why you're there.
I wouldn't even want to try to defend that sort of case in a place like that. That's going to turn ugly real fast. I've watched
exactly.
I've watched Judge Judy. I know how this goes.
No, it's not even like that though, Dylan. It's like McDonald's. Like there's a bunch of windows and shit. It's just like a DMV. It's not like it's like a courtroom, which is kind of... I expected it to kind of be like Judge Judy, where there wouldn't be like a fucking like audience or whatever, but there would be like a line of people who would go up to like a pew, or not a pew, a podium, plead their case, the judge would decide their fate, and then they would leave. No, it's not like that at all. It's literally you sit on a bench, they call you up, you talk to the...
It's just like, welcome to traffic court. How may we fuck you over this evening?
Exactly. Well, then what happens is, so, very nice guy. He's like, all right, here's what we'll do. We'll knock it down to this. You'll pay this fine, but no points on your license. You'll be good to go. Bada bing, bada boom. I'm like, great. So we sit down again. We wait for like 20 minutes, and then they call a whole batch of you, like 20 of you, and bring you, because the room is filled with people. Like, it's packed, like, you're packed in like sardines. And they bring you all in to this smaller room, which is great, even more packed in like sardines, where you then go in to see the judge, who then tells you that they are the law and then shoots you with a lawgiver.
Of course.
No, yeah, Carl Urban is in there and is like, oh, no, that's not Carl Urban, that's Stallone. So the judge is in there.
You go in and see a panel of 3 orangutans.
Right, exactly, and then they all start doing the see no, hear no evil thing. When I started telling them about SOS. Not that I did that.
And
so I go, yeah, and the weed. So I go in there, and they're like, there's a couple security guards and a judge, and the judge is being treated like royalty. So like the security guards are like surrounding her, like as if she's like fucking President Obama. Which I guess makes sense. I mean, obviously she's deciding, people's legal fate in a sense, so people might get pissed. But like they treat you like you're a terrorist when you go in, so I don't know how they're like, somehow he's gonna kill this person. But I understand the precautions. So anyway,
he has a bottle of acid hidden in his jacket, and he's just waiting for Harvey Dent to walk by.
And then Batman, fully dressed in costume, is gonna run out of the audience and fuck him up.
I just imagine that Batman's doing the Clark Kent thing. He's just wearing a suit over.
But he's not even... He's wearing the costume, too.
He sees the guy throw the acid in the guy's face, and he's like, this is a job for Batman, and he tears off the suit.
He, like, rips off... Ugh!
As if nobody knew he was Batman under that thing.
It's like he's erupting out of a fucking cocoon, and then he, like, charges up, like, steps on a bunch of people, falls over, breaks one of the chairs, and then Harvey Dent is dead by the time he gets up there.
Turns out that real-life Batman is a lot like the college humor version of Batman.
He's really, really bad at his job. Anyway, so here was the thing that threw me off. Like, everybody at this point, well, at least I assumed this, not everybody was like this. I thought everybody was going to be like, nobody wants to be here, not even the people who work here. Let's get everybody done quickly so we can all go home. That's what I assumed.
I mean, that's how I would be.
Exactly, that's exactly what I assumed. But everybody is, like, either polite or they start conversations, and it's like, I don't want to have a conversation in traffic court. But, so, what ends up happening is, going to see the judge, calls me up, and she reads me my thing, like, what exactly is going to happen to me, which is just pay the fine of $400, which is a lot of money.
On the date of so-and-so, you will be lawfully executed.
Yeah, and what? I just sped up, and she's like, we found out about the weed. No, good! Why does everybody know about that? Mr. Worcester, you talked about it on a podcast. Well, shit, I thought nobody listened to those.
The weed punishments have really gotten insane lately.
Yeah, New York has really stepped up, even though they're considering legalization. I don't know why.
You are to be hanged by the neck until you are dead.
It's like, what the fuck? We also found out about... trying to think of something else deplorable I've done.
The judge reaches into the desk. I have the rope right here.
We're going to do it right here, right now. It's like, what the fuck, man? Anyway.
There's a tree outside, and we're just going to do this thing.
Yeah, we're going to do it all KKK style.
That's what my town used to do back in the day. There's this there's this one specific tree outside the courthouse, and it was the hanging tree. Whenever somebody was getting hanged, that's where they would hang them.
What a charming story, Dylan.
Indeed.
So
That was, of course, institutionalized, like death penalty type thing, not lynchings. That can be any tree.
Right. They don't have a specific. Did they grow the tree specifically for that though? Like they were like, we need to grow a tree that we're gonna hang motherfuckers on. So let's make it strong and tall and.
No, I assume they just elected that tree.
I would grow it. I would, because you're going to get a lot of mileage out of that tree, supposedly.
Well, the thing is, it's just a perfect tree for it, because it's got nice high branches, and they stretch out far, lots of places to tie a rope onto. Do
they, climb up the tree and then throw the rope over, or do they just do it off on the ground, though?
I'm not sure. I mean, maybe they just, kick a barrel out from under you, like all medieval style.
Right.
And then you die. But
I guess. Yeah, but it'd have to be a pretty big barrel, though, right?
I mean,
because if you're saying the tree is big and there's high branches, they're going to have to throw the rope up over a branch, somehow prop the motherfucker up to get tied into it.
Or maybe they have had one of those stage things where, the floor drops out from under.
I'm assuming that, I'm assuming it's something like that.
Here's the thing. This was many years ago. I've never been to one of these hangings. I mean, I would love it if they brought it back. Seems like a fun time. But
yeah, it sounds great, right?
I mean...
Remember that scene from Frankenstein Created Woman where...
Why waste all this time, all this... You know how insanely expensive it is to fund prisoners on death row? Just kill them right then.
Yeah, it's very strange. It's a very strange legal system. Because it's like, listen, we're not going to have the whole death penalty argument here. But it's like, if we live in a world where the death penalty is a thing, which it is, why are we spending so much fucking money on... giving them, this life? It's like, the people who usually are...
And then they use these expensive-ass chemicals to do it when you could accomplish it with drain cleaner. You don't even have to do it by injection. Just hang them or shoot them. In Russia. And I know this was the case at one point. I don't know if this is still the case, because obviously I don't live in Russia. But the death penalty simply meant... I don't live in Russia.
Shocking.
No, but the death penalty simply meant a bullet in the back of the head. I mean, it's that simple.
Well, I mean, listen, the whole idea is it's more humane, and the whole point is we're trying to prove that our system is better than the people that we're murdering who break it, I guess. I guess that's the idea. But it's also, it's such a bizarre way to do it. There's so many parts of our legal system that just don't make any fucking sense.
Why not go back to the Roman way and put them in a coliseum with a lion and charge admission? You can make a lot of money.
I once read that this wasn't about death row inmates. It was people who were thinking of killing themselves. Where it was just do something so fucking crazy fucked up that it's worth it. Even if you survive, that proves that you have to keep living. But if you die, then you went out in a really fucked up way, trying to fight a bear with nothing but an icicle, something like that, something crazy. And I was like, as fucked up as that is, that would be fucking amazing if we lived in that world.
That challenge accepted. No.
The other thing was if you're gonna, the thing that Kevin Smith always says, and this always cracks me up, is if you're thinking of killing yourself, try being Batman first, because everybody's like, oh, he would die in a week. Then fine, go try it.
No, it's much quicker if you just try being Superman and do that whole jumping out of the window thing.
Well, I mean, what's the difference? I guess it's let's see if I can fly. Shockingly, you can't.
That awkward moment when somebody actually can.
Hashtag.
And they're like, damn it, I was trying to commit suicide.
God damn it!
I can't even jump out of a window, right?
There's a 60s Superman musical. I'm not kidding, this is a thing. Where in it, it's a bizarre parody type of thing, but it's actually a licensed Superman thing. And in it, Superman tries to kill himself for reasons that I don't understand, because I haven't seen it, but I know that there's a scene where he tries to kill himself by tying an anchor to him. And then he tries to do it, and then comes back up and is like, oh, I forgot I'm indestructible. And then he just stops the bad guy, and that's it.
That's the end of the movie?
Yeah.
The play, the thing?
Yeah. It was a play, and then they shot it as a pseudo movie.
So he fails to commit suicide, and then says, "Oh well, if I can't die, I might as well, save the world."
No, that's better than. Well, I mean, that's pretty much what happens, but better than that. like he comes up and there's a couple hippies hanging out on the bridge, and they're like, "Hey man, aren't you like Superman, man?" "Yeah." "You're awesome, man. You're the greatest, man. You're the greatest American hero." Copyright.
It would be awesome if, like, you were Superman, man. Leo, I am Superman. Awesome.
Awesome, man. It would be great if you could, like, fly, man. Superman can fly. Awesome, man. So Dylan, aside from all that funness, which is now a word, what else have you been up to post the 1 year anniversary of the Demons from Outer Space? We've been at this shit for over a year, Dylan.
For whatever reason, I have recently spent a lot of time watching documentaries about serial killers.
That is fascinating. Which serial killers have you delved into?
Well, I started with all of the big names, of course. Ed Gein.
The big celebrity guys.
Yeah, Ed Gein.
The A-listers, not those amateurs.
Gacy, Dahmer, Bundy. Yeah.
Did you hear about Manson getting engaged recently?
No.
Yeah, he got engaged.
The Green River Killer, whose name I can never remember. Interesting story I didn't know. When they were trying to catch the Green River Killer, they received tons of letters from all over the place, like giving them advice about how people thought that they would be able to catch them. And several of these letters came from Ted Bundy in prison. So there was some like real world Silence of the Lamb shit going on.
Right.
You had
serial killers are trying to catch serial killers, like some Dexter shit.
Yeah, that was very interesting. So yeah, I started with all the big names.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've been watching some of the more obscure ones.
Did you watch anything about Cropsey yet?
Cropsey? No, I don't believe so.
Staten Island dude who is I don't remember all the details. I heard him on I heard about him on a podcast once. He like killed people and like buried them in like some kind of sanitarium or something. I don't remember the details.
The most recent one I watched was Albert Fish.
Right.
And before that, do you know who H.H. Holmes is?
Yeah, the first American serial killer.
Yeah, and a very good one.
Was he pre or post the Ripper? He was pre, right?
I think he might have been post, actually.
Really?
He's the first.
So what, there were no serial killers in America before Jack the Ripper?
I mean, well, there might have been. The big thing about him is that it's the first, like, well-documented serial killer.
Right, okay, fair enough.
There could very well have been other ones that we just don't know about or that have faded into obscurity. But he's the first, like, big name one, and for very good reason. See, statistically, every year in the United States we have about 20 active serial killers, 10 of which will be apprehended, 10 of which will carry over to the next year. And yearly they account for about 200 of the nation's deaths, which is a 10-person body count per serial killer on average.
Right.
H.H. Holmes did that by himself over the course of his career.
Holy shit! So what was his psychosis?
He only admitted to 27 murders. Right. However, he definitely did more than that, and the best estimates place his body count somewhere in the 200s.
Jesus! Wait, what was his psychosis then?
Here's the thing, though. When he first started out, and he got crazier as time went on.
I would imagine so.
When he first started out, though, he did not fit the profile of a serial killer like at all, because he was actually not really insane, really. He was doing it for profit. He would kill people and then turn around and sell their bodies to medical colleges.
Oh, all right. They made a movie about that recently. I don't think it was about H.H. Holmes, but it was about that idea.
Yeah, because there was like a shortage of cadavers, and obviously they need cadavers, and so they wouldn't accept bodies, no questions asked in those days.
Yeah, because I think the idea was still in place that autopsies was kind of against religion, and so a lot of people's bodies, it was frowned upon to have them be donated to science.
Right.
So a lot of death row inmates and people and kind of vagrants' bodies would be given to science to like labs and stuff.
But yeah, people. They would accept these bodies without question, and some of them he would sell them as just like bodies for dissection. He would get more money if he went through the trouble of cleaning up the bones and selling them as mounted skeletons.
Whoa.
And then with a lot of his victims, he would also do life insurance scams and collect life insurance money off of them in various ways. So
it's not even like the traditional American serial killer.
The man, he was doing this as a business, and the man made a killing, and he built this hotel to kill his victims. And I forget the details, but the actual structure of the building itself, the hotel is actually designed to kill. Like, it's actually like a huge machine that he uses to kill his victims. Like, you have to watch the documentary to get
Holy shit, that's crazy. So wait, he got crazier over time, though, right? Like, it stopped being about the money.
Well, I mean, he was still getting money. He comes up with this scheme when he's in medical school, him and this other guy who he later winds up killing and selling his skeleton. They come up with this scheme of this way to make money. He builds this hotel. His name's not actually H.H. Holmes, by the way. He has some other name that I forget. That was he took that name upon himself. But he builds this hotel that's basically a murder factory and starts, selling these bodies and making a lot of money and collecting life insurance in some cases.
Right. That's crazy.
But as time went on, his psychosis, he gets more insane, basically, and he begins to fit the mold of a regular serial killer more. Like, you can read his writings from that period, which he wrote accounts of all this shit, and it's documented and it's out there for people to find.
A lot of them do, yeah.
He's very clearly insane with regards to some of his...
I mean, listen, anybody who fucking murders people is fucking not right in the head, but...
No, but I mean, it stops being so businesslike.
Right, well, there's certainly a difference, yeah.
He becomes addicted to it, he begins taking immense pleasure in it, and things like that. Of course, this is when they start to get sloppy, and he would eventually be apprehended.
Right. When was he caught? Like, how long after... How many years?
I'm not certain off the top of my head. Fascinating case, though.
Yeah, no, it's very... I know there's a documentary on Netflix about it that I haven't... I've never really delved into the wacky world of serial killers.
Oh, that's the episode title right there.
No, that's the wacky world of serial killers. It's the wacky world of serial killers with Dylan McCandless. Hey guys, I'm Dylan McCandless, and I'm going to take you into the wacky world of serial killers. Today's wacky serial killer is Charles Manson. Hey kids, I'm Charles Manson. Whoa, kids.
I know the murder that he got caught for, there was this guy that was actually like an assistant or something that was like helping him, and he wound up killing him. Let's see, I'm trying to see if I can find what year he was.
Did you, I heard...
His murder spree finally ended when he was arrested in Boston, which is odd because his hotel and most of his killings had occurred in Chicago. But he was arrested in Boston on November 17th, 1894.
How long after he started? So if I'm not mistaken, that does actually predate the Ripper, if I'm not mistaken. I think Ripper was late 19th century, early 20th century.
I'm not sure. I always thought he was more mid-18th, or mid-19th, sorry.
I'm basing this off of Batman Gotham by Gaslight, so don't believe me.
Trying to find where he started.
Jack the Ripper. And of course, there's no pictures of the dude because, well, I'll tell you.
I'm not getting any dates exactly when he exactly started killing. He established the hotel, which he referred to as his murder castle, in 1886.
All right, so they're like around the same time then. He's a little bit before Jack the Ripper, though. Jack the Ripper mainly started activity to the public's knowledge in 1888.
Oh, okay.
So, all right. Well, did you? I saw this article headline. I didn't look into it because I just didn't. And now I kind of want to, where they were like Jack the Ripper finally identified thanks to forensic evidence, like all these, like over 100 years later.
No.
Let's see if I can find the article on it, and we'll see if... The
next thing I think I'm going to explore is the wacky world of female serial killers.
Even wackier world.
Because I recently realized I know a lot of male serial killers by name. I didn't know any female serial killers by name.
Ooh, it's on Snopes, so this doesn't look too good. Maybe he hasn't been identified. Let's see what Snopes has to say about it.
The first one that that I've learned about is this serial killer named Jane Toppin, who is apparently the most like prolific female serial killer in U.S. history, who was a nurse and would poison her victims and had this idea in her head that she wanted to be the greatest serial killer ever and have like the highest body count, and she wound up with 31 victims.
Oh wow! All right, it's fucked up. It's kind of in a strange way, kind of like a Nurse Hatchet type.
Mm.
Did you see the movie Monster with Charlize Theron?
No.
Where she was it's like one of the first female serial killer movies. My mom has it. I've never sat down and watched it, but
I've seen images of Charlize from that movie, and she looks rough.
She looks like one of my uncles who during his drug days.
But here's an interesting one that I did that I watched, and actually Sean Barry showed me this one. Have you ever heard of Vice.com?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, they do like documentaries about different things. They did an interview with this Japanese cannibal.
I heard about this. And didn't he like describe the taste of human flesh?
I don't remember that part, but they interviewed this guy. His name's if I'm pronouncing this right, Issei Sagawa or something.
Issei Sagawa.
He only has one murder to his credit. He was a college student, and so he's technically not a serial killer, but he's a cannibal, so whatever.
Yeah, it's different.
He was in Paris going to college in, I forget what year, and he killed I want to say like Dutch, it was a Dutch student that he was attracted to. He killed her and cut her up and ate her. But due to legal loopholes, didn't get sent to prison.
What was the legal loophole?
Well, first, France shipped him back to Japan because they were upset that he was being jailed on their money.
Oh, okay.
When he went to Japan, I don't really know the details. I know he spent a little bit of time in some sort of mental institution, but got out promptly and has been a free man ever since.
That's terrifying. But is it like a sex offender thing where he had to tell everybody, "Hey, I ate somebody once"?
I mean, I don't know if he had that restriction on him. He actually he became sort of like a low profile, like Japanese celebrity in a way, because he gained a lot of notoriety and was able to make a living out of recounting his crime. He wrote a book and everything.
Jesus Christ, that's fucked up.
Did a porn film. I mean, the guy.
What? What do you mean he did a porn film?
Okay, so this is fucked up. Listen to this, right? They get this Japanese porn actress, and all they tell her is that she's going to live with this guy in his apartment for a day.
Oh my god. Japan, what the hell, man?
And
really?
And their only real stipulation is that the director requested that they have sex at least 3 times. Okay, so she does it. When it's all over, at the very end of it, they sit her down with him in the living room, and he tells her about himself.
Oh my god. And then she promptly kicked all their asses.
And shows her his book, which contains his crime scene photos.
Oh my god, dude.
The interesting thing is she didn't react as over the top as you might expect. She was very shocked, obviously.
I would imagine so.
And after she left, she was obviously in immense. But apparently, after that, at some point, they became friends.
I don't understand you, Japan. I love you so much, but I don't understand you.
They became friends, and according to him, she helped him work out some of his issues, so that's good or whatever.
She stopped me from eating people. She made me learn that it was possible. She turned me on to Burger King.
But the most disturbing part about the thing is towards the end, right? He's talking about, obviously, for him, cannibalism was tied with sexuality, as a lot of serial killing tends to be. He killed...
attempts to replace something that they can't fulfill with sex.
The women that he desired to eat were the women that he was attracted to.
But he only did it once, though, right? He only went through with it once.
Yeah, he only did it once.
Right.
And he was really bad at it. He got caught very quickly, which might be why he's never done it again. But I
am really bad at this.
I'll stick to the fantasies. No, but he talks near the end about how he's learned to suppress his urges. He says, whenever I have a cannibalistic urge, I suppress it through masturbation. I'm like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. That's a perfectly valid technique. Fine, good on you, whatever, at least you won't be killing
jerk my dick very hard.
At least you won't be killing anybody else. But then towards the end, he's like, but recently, and I assume this is just with age, he says, but recently I've become impotent, and now I'm worried because I won't be able to satisfy myself in this manner.
Jesus! Somebody keep an eye on this motherfucker.
I have never heard a better case for the use of Viagra in my life.
Right? Where it's like, somebody give this motherfucker the blue pill.
Just pop some of that shit, man. Just
Dude,
pop it.
It's like, listen, I'm all against the idea of public masturbation. I think it's gross. But if there were ever a case to be made, he is the case.
I am more against cannibalism, as it turns out.
I agree. Listen, let him jerk off in the middle of the street, as long as they don't eat nobody.
The other fucked up part was he was primarily in recent years.
As if that wasn't fucked up enough.
He was primarily until in recent years. He says he's graduated from this and is now more attracted to women from Okinawa. He was in the past always attracted to Western women. The woman that he killed was Dutch. But for a while after his release, he traveled around the world with these 2 European girls who had no idea about his past.
Oh my God! How does this work, Dylan? How? Oh, people are stupid. People are so fucking stupid.
But I mean, he's not one of these like super famous like serial killers, right? So you wouldn't see him on the street and just think, "Oh, that's that guy that ate that chick."
And then he's just like walking down the street like fucking Peter Parker in Spider-Man 3 with his leather jacket and his sunglasses, and he just points at you like, "Hey, man!"
And he's very non-threatening looking. Like
most of them are.
He's small even by Asian standards. He's a tiny, frail man. And he's very polite. Like, when he's giving the interview, if he wasn't sitting there talking about how he killed a woman and ate her flesh, you would be thinking, wow, this seems like a nice guy to sit down and have tea with, He's very polite.
I think this guy's alright. I mean, aside from the whole eating people thing, he's kind of an okay guy.
I mean, I'd hang out with this guy. He's not going to eat me.
I like the cut of his jib.
He's not going to eat me. He's not gay.
As long as it doesn't have blood on it, as long as it's not soaked with the blood of a crying dead girl, then it's all fine. The cut of his jib is great.
Listen, I'm he's not Jeffrey Dahmer. I'm safe. Whatever.
Right.
But yeah, they actually show the crime scene photos in the interview, and they're pretty grisly. But what's even more disturbing to me are his drawings of the incident.
Oh my God.
He does these little, really shittily done manga drawings, but they're very disturbing. In fact, he was actually paid by a manga company to do them, and they are published somewhere.
Shit. So is it like Humpus quality art?
It's pretty bad.
It's like if I try to draw a crime scene. Everybody's muscles are like disproportionate to their bodies. So I found this article on Snopes about the fact that there was a article about that Jack the Ripper had been identified. So let's take a look, because this is kind of interesting. The claim is the identity of notorious murderer Jack the Ripper has finally been definitively established, and it's been rated undetermined, which means that it's undetermined whether or not the identity of Jack the Ripper has been determined. Wrap your head around that, kids. And it says the origins of this supposed rumor. In September of 2014, the British press and then the American press trumpeted the news that the notorious case of late 19th century murderer Jack the Ripper had at long last been definitely solved, and the identity of the killer had been established through DNA testing as a 23-year-old Polish immigrant named Aaron Kaziminski. A self-confessed armchair detective claims to have solved perhaps the most notorious whodunit ever by claiming to have discovered the identity of Jack the Ripper. Russell Edwards claimed, I guess these are just like bullet points of like stuff that was said that doesn't really match up.
What is his evidence like?
Well, hang on, we're going to see here now. Well, it said forensics, I'm assuming some DNA. Russell Edwards claims Aaron Kosminski, a 23-year-old Polish immigrant who ended up dying in an asylum, was definitely, categorically, and absolutely the man behind the grisly killing spree in 1888 in London's East End. Edwards said a blood-stained shawl he bought in 2007 after an auction Bury St. Edmunds, Suffolk, held vital DNA evidence which led him to the killer. I've got the only piece of forensic evidence in the whole history of the case, he said. I've spent 14 years working on it, and we have definitely solved the mystery of who Jack the Ripper was. Only non-believers that want to perpetuate the myth will doubt. This is it now. We have unmasked him. Case closed? Not nearly, say many skeptics. Well, here's my first question as a skeptic. So how does he know this particular shawl, which he bought at an auction, has anything to do with Jack the Ripper? He doesn't say.
Was it one of these deals where the guy was like, "This totes belong to Jack the Ripper"?
Then it's like, well, of course you would say that.
I promise.
It's like, I guarantee I have an autograph from Jack the Ripper here that says that it's his.
That's about as reliable as a carnival man saying, "This is the actual skeleton of Dracula." Oh, wait.
Exactly. Well, oh, wait, that's not an example. It's like, well, of course he's going to say that. He wants you to fucking buy it, which you did, and fell for it. I don't buy this. Also, it's his armchair detective, meaning that the guy isn't actually a detective. He just sits in a chair all day and is like, I know this about police work.
He fancies himself a Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, he's a longtime viewer of the wacky world of serial killers, though, Dylan. He's a big fan of you.
Well, anything for a fan, huh?
Case closed? Not nearly, say many skeptics. For starters, let's see if they bring up the whole, well, how do we know it belonged to Jack the Ripper? The claimant behind the big reveal, Russell Edwards, is the latest in a long line of authors hawking books in which they claim to have definitely identified the real Jack the Ripper. Because this is not the first time. This has happened before. And it's been just as undeterminable, if that's a word, as it's been this time. And so Edwards' announcement was time to publicize his forthcoming book, Naming Jack the Ripper. This is a commercial effort, not a case of an impartial, solid, evidence-based forensic or historical discovery being announced through publication in a peer-reviewed scientific journal, meaning people were like, yep, he's right. It's all him. Moreover, the claim for Aaron...
Not even necessarily right. All peer-reviewed means is that some people looked over his evidence and said, this is plausible.
Exactly, precisely. Look, it's like, listen, there's a difference between theorizing and then coming up with the conclusion based on that theory. That conclusion is not necessarily, like, fact. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, the theory of the Big Bang Theory or the theory of evolution, that's a constantly evolving theory because we keep learning new things. You know what I mean? It's not a definitive, like, this is exactly what happened and it will never change. That's the point of science, is to discover the truth through constant trial and error, and that usually evolves.
Here's the thing, Mr. Armchair Detective. I realize, of course, that you think you're Batman, and just the best damn thing since sliced bread, but you done fucked up.
Right? It's like, this is some... Also, it took you 14 years to get the DNA? Really? Was it that, like, shitty?
Was it that degraded? Did you have to get it out of amber?
I guess it would... Yeah, did you have to clone Jack the Ripper and then kill him again? Wasn't there a movie about that where they cloned Jack the Ripper and, like, he went on, like, a modern killing spree or something?
I don't know. That sounds fascinating.
I think that was a movie. It sounds cool. It probably sucked, though. There's some really...
It sounds both amazing and awful.
There have been a couple of weird movies about Jack the Ripper. Like, there was one where it was about H.G. Wells trying to solve the Ripper case, and he, like, goes forward in time, and he's, like, stalking him in a modern-day setting, which is kind of cool. I've never seen it. I've heard it's actually a good movie, though, so who knows. I assume it's literally just like people running around in costumes in a modern day world, like, I'm gonna get you, Jack the Ripper. You'll never catch me, H.G. Wells. Where it's like 60s.
You'll never stop me, Hackman.
Moreover, the claim for Aaron Kosminski as Jack the Ripper is based on a DNA analysis of a shawl said to have been taken from the body of Catherine Eddowes, one of the Ripper's victims. But the provenance and the integrity of that shawl are far from certain. See, nobody knows for certain if it belongs to the victim.
This is like that famous, like, piece of cloth that people are convinced belonged to Jesus.
Right.
But at least with that one, it's got his fucking face on it.
Right, exactly. Which, even then, that's kind of iffy. But at least it's, like, more, it's like you can see it. It's like, there's so much circumstance here, and so much, like, this sounds like a sideshow attraction more than actual science to me, that it's like, I don't buy it. Edwards purchased the shawl rumored to have been taken... Oh, did I read that already? No, I didn't. This is new. taken from Edo's body and stained with blood. In the distinctive splatter pattern of gore from a slash artery, he subjected it to DNA analysis, matching the blood to samples from Edo's descendants. Meaning that, he didn't have a DNA sample of Edo's herself, so he had to match it with her like, kids, which I guess makes some sort of sense.
But could also mean that was the blood of one of her relatives from back in the day.
Right, exactly.
There's just too much reasonable doubt here.
Richard Cobb, who runs Jack the Ripper...
It raises too many questions.
Richard Cobb, who runs... I guess this is the guy he bought it from, runs Jack the Ripper conventions and tours. People who celebrate this motherfucker. Told the Times...
serial killers are big business.
I know, it's crazy, dude.
After the Ed Gein thing, his car was very popular in carnival circuits for a long time.
His art, not his art. Wasn't Jeffrey Dahmer's art, like, all over the fucking world?
No, you're thinking of John Wayne Gacy.
Yeah, I'm thinking of Gacy, sorry. I'm not really terribly familiar with the wacky world of serial killers. So,
Gacy did a lot of painting in prison. Most of it clowns.
Right. Yeah. What's the clown's name?
His clown was called Pogo.
That's it.
And he is the real Pennywise.
Right. So this motherfucker, Richard Cobb, told the Times that the Shaw had been... That's not in the article, I added that for inflection. Told the Times that the Shaw had been touched by many people over the years, meaning it's fucking contaminated, which made any DNA samples less reliable. The Shaw has been openly handled by loads of people and been touched, breathed on, spat upon. So it's like, oh, that's fucking aggravating. It's like, what do you mean you think it's categorically, absolutely the identity? It's so unreliable.
Some bitch in, the 1920s could have had tuberculosis and coughed blood on the damn thing.
Right? But it's also like, we're not identifying the victim here. We're supposed to be identifying the killer. I can't wait to see how he got to that. Because that, to me, is why this is bullshit. Like, okay, the victim is one thing. Like, he corroborated it with descendants, which is still iffy, but it's more reliable than, just guessing. So, but the other thing is, he's also saying that this also led to the discovery of the identity of the killer.
Look, at this point, there's only one reasonable explanation for the identity of Jack the Ripper. I'm gonna let it out of the box right here, right now. It was Daleks.
Right, it was Daleks. It was definitely Daleks.
It's always Daleks, isn't it?
Dude, always.
It's always either the butler did it, or it's Daleks. That's just
so
those.
It's either Alfred or the Daleks.
These are just the rules. I don't make them.
These are just facts, people. There's more to it. The UK newspaper The Independent also noted that, leaving aside yet again the claim that the shawl was never washed or cleaned at any time during the past 126 years, the biggest problem is carrying out such sensitive DNA analysis is the question of cross-contamination. For instance, if Dr. Wow, that's a long-ass name, Luhalayan's laboratory worked with the DNA of the two living descendants.
It's always encouraging when the name of the scientist sounds like a Hawaiian greeting of some sort.
Luhalayan.
Luhalayan.
Yeah, welcome to Aloha. Welcome to the research lab where we will be studying Jack the Ripper.
And a happy Luhalayan to you.
Worship King Kamehameha.
What does Luhalayan mean? Even we're not sure.
Alan Moore, what are you doing here? Oh shit, I've been caught.
I'm really Hawaiian. What?
How the fuck does that work? Well, you see, when I was young, I prayed to my serpent god. Oh shit, with the serpent god.
Damn it, Alan Moore. I do not believe that you are Hawaiian. I demand to see your birth certificate.
I swear to my serpent god, that means nothing. That means fucking nothing.
Alright, it's not true. I'm not from Hawaii. I'm from Nigeria.
Oh, shit. Alright, you got me. I'm actually from Texas. No.
I am the eldest forgotten about son of Mufasa.
He doesn't appear to me in clouds like he does for Simba. He doesn't love me that much, apparently.
You're aware that you're not a lion, right?
Yeah, but I've got the hair of a lion. I look kind of like Scar.
Good old Uncle Scar.
Voiced by Jeremy Irons. Wait, if he's your uncle, he's voiced by... What the fuck, Alan Moore?
We had many a good time, we did.
Until he pushed my father off that cliff. That was quite sad. I'm all alone in the world. Oh, now he's singing. Now Alan Moore is singing.
But that was during the 90s, so by that time I was already off conceptualizing Watchmen 3, The Return.
In fact, I'd already written The Lion King 3, The Return.
Of Jafar? Wait, what?
The Return of Jafar! That's fucking funny.
Lion King 3, Jafar and Scars, African Adventure.
I don't know why it's that theme song, but that's the one that was in my head.
One's a Muslim sorcerer, the other's a fucked up lion.
Wackiness will ensue when they come across Jack the Ripper.
Played by Alan Moore.
Played by Alan Moore. Hello, I'm Jack the Ripper, and I pray to my serpent god.
Ask me why I killed those people. Why'd you kill those people? Oh shit, no one's ever asked that before.
I wasn't prepared. You should have given me more time. I am so confused.
He gives like a really compelling speech about how like he has these voices in his head constantly like compelling him to kill, and at some point you're just like, wait a minute, you just stole the speech from Fritz Lang's M. Oh shit.
I've been made. Quick, serpent god, let's run away. He gets on like a toy snake and like rides it away.
He jumps on Shinron's back.
Dun 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 dun.
We've gotten far off base here.
I don't know. Yeah.
How did this begin?
So let's get back to this article, shall we?
Right. So the true identity of Jack the Ripper is, drumroll please, Old Man Jenkins.
Old Man Jenkins. I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you meddling armchair detectives.
Actually, we're in a van. No.
Vanchair detectives.
That makes very little sense.
I would...
But I love it.
There are chairs in vans! So he's a vanchair detective.
I would watch a show called Vanchair Detectives.
That's...
It's a title about as descriptive as Perfect Strangers, but okay.
Dylan, that could be like what we call Biggie and Quatch when they're in their van, solving paranormal mysteries, like Jack the Ripper.
No, but Biggie and Quatch is already such a great title in and of itself.
No, but that doesn't have to be part. Like they're just like it's Biggie and Quatch, and then in the show, it's like who are Biggie and Quatch? They're vanchair detectives.
Or, wasn't the full title the like Ghostly Adventures of Biggie and Quatch or something?
The Ghostly Adventures of Biggie and Quatch. No, just Biggie and Quatch. Fucking America.
One's a Muslim sorcerer. Wait.
The other is a lion. Wait, what?
We just realized that this is not Biggie and Quatch.
Wait a minute, man. I'm not sure what's going on. Biggie and Quatch are like, are you Muslim? No. Are you a lion? Shit!
One's a die-hard conservative, the other is a bleeding heart liberal. I smell a sitcom.
So basically the rest of this article is basically just suggesting that, oh wait, let's find out how this motherfucker determined that this Polish immigrant is supposedly Jack the Ripper.
I don't believe that Jack the Ripper was Polish.
Well, obviously not. But when other labs have worked on the ancient DNA of important samples, such as the DNA extracted from Neanderthal bones, or the remains of the Romanovs, the last Russian royal family, they have gone to extraordinary lengths to avoid the possibility of cross-contamination, obviously. They have also worked on blind samples to ensure they do know which samples they are analyzing in order to avoid unwitting prejudice, and have even carried out duplicate blinded experiments in 2 different laboratories to replicate each other's work. I have no idea what that means, but it sounds sciencey, so cool. None of this, as far as we know, has been done in this case. Dr. Duhelin may be satisfied that he has found the culprit, but many other scientists are not, including Professor Sir Alec Jeffreys, the man who invented the DNA fingerprint technique 30 years ago.
I mean, it's so obviously a hoax.
Oh,
and I understand why you did it. I mean, you're an armchair detective. Every armchair detective in the world
wants to solve the Jack the Ripper case.
Would love to be the guy who figures out who Jack the Ripper is, or solves the case of the Black Dahlia, or, hell, figures out who kidnapped the Lindbergh baby. But
where they bury Jimmy Hoffa?
Where did they bury Jimmy Hoffa? Is Elvis really dead? These are the burning questions.
You know, all these burning... Will Ben Affleck be a good Batman? These hardcore, deep-rooted issues of the modern American crime world.
What is the square root of 42? Does 42 even have a square root?
Is 42, in fact, the meaning of life? You know, will Clara stay on for Series 9 of Doctor Who? All these are burning questions at the heart of the armchair detectives.
What is the proper serving temperature of a pizza?
No, I don't know, Dylan. You tell me.
That's why we need armchair detectives to solve that mystery, Phil.
Dylan, would you like to become armchair detectives?
I mean, I need an armchair, but why not?
I mean, I got an armchair downstairs. We're already halfway there.
I have a.
Then we just have to pretend to solve mysteries.
I mean, I have a computer chair.
Whoa! You're already... That's a new thing. There's vanchair, armchair, and now computer chairs. Whoa!
Brilliant. I need to get a smoking jacket. and
a witty assistant who just likes to criticize me and make jokes, and will also document all my adventures.
I have a pipe. It's just a fake costume pipe, but it's all about image anyway.
Yeah, it's not really about the actual facts. It's all about what it all looks like.
Because that's proper detective ethic right there.
Right.
It's not about the facts.
It's all about the image.
It's all about the questionable DNA evidence.
Right, indeed. An interesting but remarkable claim that needs to be subjected to peer review, with detailed analysis of the provenance of the shawl and the nature of the claimed DNA match with the perpetrator's descendants and its power of discrimination. No actual evidence has yet been provided, Sir Alec told The Independent. In any case, as Sir Alec pointed out, if I remember correctly when I visited the Black Museum at New Scotland Yard, Kosminski was long regarded as by far the most likely perpetrator. As Jack the Ripper?
Widely regarded. I've never heard of the guy.
Hang on. I'm confused. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, he's quoting Oh, they're quoting the fucking idiot now.
Oh.
Oh,
I see.
So I don't believe anything he says. And even if everything Edwards claims is true, it still doesn't definitely establish that Aaron Kosminski was Jack the Ripper. Only that he had contact with one of the Ripper's victims, and as that victim, Catherine Eddowes, we believe to have engaged in casual prostitution. Kosminski might have left DNA traces on her clothing before he was a client of hers, not because he was her killer.
Right. I mean, you find out that this guy had access to a hooker, and
right.
you jump right to him killing her.
Yeah, man. What the fuck does that say?
It might not have been anything that he might have just given her syphilis or something. You know.
Right. Exactly. Everybody would have thought she was a vampire, not that he was Jack the Ripper.
I mean, you know.
Fucking idiot, man. So aside from that, so Dylan, Jack the Ripper, it's still a mystery. Nobody knows.
Still at large.
Jack the Ripper, still at large. 122 years later.
We never caught him, so.
That's true.
And there's no body, so.
He could be a Time Lord. Dun dun. Imagine if the Doctor or the Master turned out to be Jack the Ripper.
I went through this killing phase for a while. The serial killing phase.
When I was the War Doctor, I turned... Alan Moore. Yes, I was an unknown regeneration of the Doctor. Nobody knew.
But there's no more gaps in the regeneration line. Where did you come in? I was Doctor number 11D. But there hasn't even been... 11D isn't even a number, Alan Moore. What Serpent God made 11D a number. Oh, shit. What is 11D?
It's a number between 1,000 and 12,000.
Oh.
Meaning 11,000. It is 11D.
This is not very good science.
No, we're doing about as much good science right now as a vanchair detective would do.
It's weird science, but not good science.
Weird science. Woo. So, Dylan, aside from the wacky world of serial killers,
Speaking of silence, we were talking about something interesting before we started recording. I mean science, not silence.
Oh yeah, oh good idea. Okay, well, interesting segue given what these things look like. So
Indeed.
so we were talking about these robot I was about to say robot serial killers.
Robot security.
Not yet, but there's always the possibility. Robot security guards. What are they putting them outside of? Like office buildings and shit, or like banks?
Well, they were created in Silicon Valley, and so far
Like Christopher Walken being stopped by James Bond.
So far they have made their grand debut.
Oh, Mr. Bond, I have not Daleks out here protecting me from you.
I'm
I
not.
won't bust them very easily. Alan Moore, why are you dressed up like James Bond?
I'm not sure if they've been used in multiple locations yet, but I do know that they have made their grand debut at, I believe it was Google headquarters.
Okay. Mr. Google has to be protected, right?
Yes. They are called the K5 security robot.
Wow, that is a lame-ass name.
K5 is the model number. They're made by a company called, I think, Nightscope. And the interesting thing about this company is that it's very young. I think it actually started earlier this year, and they've already got a robot on the market.
Wow, I wonder what they'll be doing in 20 years. Skynet! Dun, dun, dun!
Turning me into a Cyberman, that's what they'll be doing.
They'll be upgrading you to Cyberman, and then you'll be a whiny asshole who blows up the clouds.
Oh, man, I'm latching onto that immortality.
Right?
With dear life.
I'm just like, I'm so satisfied with this. So the audience doesn't care about that, though. So, not Daleks. Dylan, my question, what happens when they get to K9? Because you said these models are K5.
Then for some reason, they go from this design that's, obviously most people on the internet have been referring to them as Daleks. So somebody called it R2-D2's evil twin. Earlier, I compared it to Robbie the Robot. Although I think the most creative one I read was that they look like the Daleks had a love child with Eva from WALL-E.
Yeah, they also look like the things from Portal. Also,
I'm also reminded of the line from Airplane. It looks like a big Tylenol.
It does kind of too.
But anyway, for some reason, when they reach K9, they will abandon that design altogether and decide, hey, let's make them dogs.
And also, let's make them dogs that are outdated technology that we could have built 20 years ago. Because the K9 robot, as it is presented in Doctor Who, aside from the lasers and everything, is basically a robot that we could have already built.
I mean, dude, I had robot toys that were more advanced.
Right?
Aside again from the lasers.
Yeah, obviously that's... But even then, we have phasers in the military. We're getting close.
I mean, damn it, it's 2014, we can put people on the moon. All I want is a laser pistol. Is that too much to ask?
Yeah, we're sending Matthew McConaughey through wormholes and shit.
I mean, come on, man.
Listen, we don't need to... Listen.
Matthew McConaughey's like, I was going through wormholes since long before anybody paid me to go through a wormhole.
Because, you don't have to in order to go through a wormhole forwards, you gotta go through a wormhole backwards.
What are you doing? What are you doing, Matthew? I'm doing something that I'm now referring to as McConaugheying.
McConaughey!
It basically involves talking lucidly, like some sort of Southern Confucius.
Southern Confucius. Man, that's competing with the Wacky World of Serial Killers as an episode title. That's great.
I don't know. I like Wacky World.
I think I'm gonna go with that. Those are competing though. So speaking of Interstellar, I saw that. Loved the shit out of it. That movie has awesome robots. It's got robots in it, and they're like, it's kind of like.
Do they look like big Tylenols?
No, they look like big ATM machines.
That's less impressive to me.
But they're actually really bad. They look kind of like R2-D2 if he was a big ATM machine.
Because ATM machines are all square, and I always find robots more impressive when they're sleeker looking.
Right.
That's just me, though.
Right. Well, it's great. You should see it. I remember we had a conversation once where it was like, tell me if you like it, and then I will go see it. I liked it. You should see it.
Did we have that conversation?
So, at some point.
I don't remember that.
Well, Dylan, you should see it.
I don't remember valuing the opinions of other human beings.
I know, it's weird. I was confused by that. But Dylan, you should see it. It's a really, really, really good movie. I liked it better than Inception. So if you liked Inception, well, there you go. Anyway, I know not everybody liked it. It got a lot of hate, and I don't understand that at all. I think everybody
did.
Yeah, everybody who hated it didn't understand the ending, and the ending is weird, but it's no weirder than Inception's ending, and also it makes perfect sense with what the movie is doing.
I'm just going to say, I haven't seen the movie yet, but I thought casting Matthew McConaughey was actually kind of perfect, because you have Christopher Nolan, a guy who's known for writing long monologues filled with, like, rambling, like, metaphor and things.
Right.
And then you have Matthew McConaughey, who's known for doing that in real life. So
yeah, I mean, Interstellar has that. It's not as definitively a Nolan movie as, say, as Inception or Dark Knight was. It's kind of... It's a nice mix.
One time when I was in Burma.
It's also got this badass celebrity cameo in the middle of it that I didn't expect, and I was like, holy shit, he's in that? I won't spoil it, though.
I was in Burma since long before anybody paid me to be in Burma.
And, sometimes to get out of Burma, you gotta go back into Burma.
Or just burn the force down. That would be the easiest way to get out of Burma.
He's actually really good in it, though. He's fantastic. I like Matthew McConaughey. I just don't like the movies he's usually in.
The man can act when he's given good material.
Yeah, he's great. It's just that,
he's just kind of fucking insane in person.
Yeah, well, that, and it's also like he's in movies like fucking My Girlfriends of Christmas Past, which is like, what the fuck? What the fuck is wrong with you? You're a good actor, and why?
It's kind of like, I'm going to compare it to James Franco. James Franco is an actor that I don't really care for overall. However, when he's given good material, he can do good work.
Yeah, he's a funny guy, though, but he's also insane.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's fucking crazy.
He is fucking crazy. Did you hear that scandal about him, fucking a minor in New York?
No.
I don't know all the details, and I don't want to sound scandalous because it's not my thing. But, to be scandalous.
I recently heard something about Bill Cosby having rape allegations.
Well, that was 20 years ago.
And I'm all like, he offered a few too many pudding pops, so...
A few good pudding pops.
12 angry pudding pops. No.
Well, you see, you gotta put the pudding pop in the pussy, and if they don't want it, you do it anyway.
No, Bill, that's not right. Kids say the darndest thing.
So, we were talking about the robots before we went on that tirade.
Yes, the K5 security robots.
Right. So, it's defending, the Google building. And tell me the thing you told me, or tell our listeners the thing you told me before we started recording about how much it costs to do this.
Oh yeah, this is insane. Okay, so obviously you don't buy these robots for yourself. The company rents them out to you. The amazing thing is, it actually costs less to have these things guard your building than to pay a human security guard minimum wage, because you can rent these bad boys for $6.25 an hour. Right.
Which I'm sure every security guard on the planet, which, no offense if there's some listening where it was like, shit, these things must be destroyed.
These robots are coming over here and taking their jobs.
They're taking their jobs. Well, let's talk about that, shall we? So, Dylan, we make it big, right? Let's just say in some far-off alternate universe, we make it big. We have an office building of some kind, a studio maybe, and we're sitting in there, and they're like, you got two options. You're either being defended by security guards, by highly trained, experienced security guards. We're going to cost $12 an hour. I know that's a little low, but let's say $12 an hour. Or, for $9.65, you've got R2-D2's dark brother, the canine security robot. And they're not going to apprehend whoever may break into the building, but they will alert HQ to the fact that it's happening, and then they will call the police. As opposed to the security guards dealing with it immediately, supposedly. At least that's the The fantasy, anyway. So, what's your thought process? What are we thinking? Money or safety?
I'm going with the robots, man.
Well, it's also like you get to say, I am defended by robots.
Right, and I mean, here's the thing. They don't have weapons yet or anything.
And that's where it starts to get a little scary, where they start giving them, like, machine guns and shit.
I mean, whatever. As long as they're programmed not to shoot me, I don't care.
But that's what Ed 209 was programmed to do, and it was like, you have 20 seconds to comply. And then that guy was hamburger meat.
Yeah, but here's the thing about Ed 209. Ed 209 is... this may come as a shock to the listeners.
Not real.
Not real.
But still, it's still a real concern, though. How does the robot distinguish between good and bad?
Wait, it doesn't distinguish between good and bad. It distinguishes between who its employer is and who isn't.
Well, but also it's like, well, also, okay, what if the employer decides one day, fuck all this, and starts shooting up the joint?
I mean, here's the thing. You don't own the robot, though. It comes from the agency.
Okay, then how is it distinguishing who the employer is?
I don't know, man. I'm not the fucking robot maker.
But that's just the problem, though. It's like the problem is, here's why I wouldn't do it. At least not initially. The prospect of a highly trained group of security guards, I find... Listen, here's what I do. Put one robot on staff with the rest of the security guards. That way I can say there is a robot defending our ranks, and then we have the rest of them as highly trained security guards. Because then you get that cool factor... But then you've also got the safety of actual dudes who can fuck up criminals who may burst in and try and, go all that guy from Scrooged on you.
That's so expensive, though.
It's $3 more, Dylan.
Exactly, man. For $3 less, I can have a robot.
But that's $3 towards you not fucking dying.
Here's the thing, though. I agree with your suggestion, but I would do it the opposite way. I would have a bunch of robots and a small...
And one security guard?
Maybe not just one security guard, but a small group of security guards who would also be working.
So what the fuck is the point of the robots then? Because it's not like the robots are any more efficient than the security guards are. In fact, they're less so.
They are, because they're robots.
No, but Dylan, what are they doing exactly? Because I didn't read the article, you did. Tell me, what exactly are these things doing? They're not going like, hey, you, stop. They're like, oh, shit, somebody's trying to rape somebody. Let me call this other guy, and then he'll call somebody else, and then eventually somebody will deal with the situation. Right?
No, I mean, here's what they do. They ride around, and they collect data. And they send this data.
And then they upgrade, and then they build laser cannons.
Exactly. Now, meanwhile, there are people monitoring this data, and monitoring possible threats. This is great anti-terrorist technology also. Monitoring possible threats and then reacting to those threats. I mean, it's not like...
With extreme prejudice.
With extreme prejudice. Here's the thing. If you had a fleet...
How does it react to those threats, though? What does it do?
Well, so far all it says is that they alert HQ, and then I don't know what the fuck HQ does from there.
That's the thing that kills me, though. It's like, and then real security guards come out and deal with it. So I guess I guess the idea is like they're gonna pick up on things that an actual security guard might not pick up on.
Yeah, here's the thing: these things have several cameras. They have fucking like radar. They have fucking radar and shit. Like I don't know if they have infrared, but they totally should. I would fund that.
Infrared vision. Bam.
Want some candy?
Motherfucker.
But what was I talking about? Now I'm thinking.
That laugh, dude. That fucking laugh.
No, I know. I've got.
Put that in the robots, and that'll fucking scare the shit out of criminals. Some fucking idiot, like some fucking psychopath breaks into our building. I'm gonna kill the demons from outer space, and all of a sudden the robot just goes.
Anyway, here's what I would do. I would have a fleet of these robot security guards and then a small staff of humans as well. Because here's the failing of humans, of humanity. A human security guard is not always at his best. You know what I mean?
Fair enough. Exactly. It's very true.
There are times when maybe they're not paying as much attention to those video monitors as maybe they should be. Okay.
Listen, we've all seen the movies. We've all seen fucking The Truman Show. They're sitting in their little booth with their feet up on the thing, with their pants unbuttoned, and they're watching TV. Now, if you're a security guard listening, I respect you for, at least in some fashion, putting your life on the line to help other people. I guess. But tell me, why are you listening to this podcast when you should be securing things?
Exactly. The good thing about these robot security guards is that A, they're fucking awesome, and B...
Well, that's the number one thing. Is that it's a cool idea. It's a novel concept.
They will never get tired. They will never waver. They can run for hours at a time and then only require a 20-minute charging period. And if you run them in shifts, you don't have to worry about ever having lapses in your security.
Right.
Robots, 1 through 5 will be on patrol at this hour, and then blah blah blah. Just like you would do with humans. They would never get tired. They would never waver. They would never at any time be just sitting in their booth eating a donut or whatever. And thus,
well, at least not yet, until they get sentience, and then they're going to start doing that.
And thus, no threat.
Reading robotic Playboy.
No.
Oh yes, that is great. Centerfold. Ha ha ha.
Is there robotic Playboy? And if
I'm sure it's a thing that's coming soon when our robot overlords finally take over.
But basically, there will never be a time when threats can simply come under the radar.
I think that's the fantasy. I mean, not the fantasy. That's like the idea of it. But it's gonna happen though. Things are gonna happen that the robots can't detect. I mean, how complex is the robot's AI as it will be? How complex is its programming where it looks like a faulty pipe, and it's like that pipe is gonna spill out gas and explode?
I mean, the damn things they're programmed to recognize hand.
But how far does their intelligence go? Is my question.
Well, I'm just getting to that.
If you can even call it intelligence.
They're programmed to recognize hand gestures. They have the ability to run license plate numbers.
That's fucked up.
They are programmed with a wide range of sensory detections. I watched an interview with the guy who owns the company, and he was saying that they can even They've developed.
He was a small Chinese. Not Chinese. I'm sorry, that's racist. He was a small Japanese man who.
Actually, no. He was American.
I was making a joke, Dylan, about what we were talking about earlier.
But I think he mentioned something about smell. So I guess they have some sort of rudimentary way.
Something smells like weed.
They have some sort of.
There's me in the bathroom. Oh shit! Why does everybody keep finding out?
They have some sort of rudimentary way of detecting smell particles, I guess. I don't know.
Smell particles. That's fucking great.
The point is, they are very advanced, and there's like a supercomputer in the middle running the whole show, so...
Whole Brainiac.
I'm sold. I embrace technology.
I'm not with it yet. I need some trial runs. I need this to be like Kevin Spacey in Moon. That's what I want. I want Kevin Spacey from Moon.
Okay.
Or the ones from Interstellar, where they're friendly and they have a sense of humor and all that. That's what I want.
But what does a robot need with a sense of humor?
Because that's funny and entertaining, and it's like a pal. I want a robot pal. Right now, it's like it's like a vacuum cleaner that talks. That's really all it is.
Say, what does a robot need with a personality? And furthermore, what does God need with a starship? These are the burning questions of our age. Armchair detectives, get on this.
Yeah, armchair detectives, find out what does God need with a starship.
Which, I mean, you don't really have to do any detective work on that one. You can just watch the movie. The answer is nothing.
The movie sucks. So don't worry about it.
The answer is nothing. God doesn't need anything with the starship.
No, the question is, why is Captain Clerk climbing a mountain?
Because he's in love.
He wants to make love with the mountain. Young men with sinewy bodies.
And something about toes.
So why is Captain Clerk climbing a mountain? To feel the mountain. To love the mountain.
To envelop that mountain.
Right. Exactly. Anyway, so where does this bring us, Dylan? This brings us to Skynet. This brings us to Terminator 2. No, I don't know. It scares me, but I think it's great. I think it's awesome. I think it's really cool that we've gotten that far. I think that it has the potential to be really, really great. I just, so there's a reason, as many jokes as we may make about comparing it to Terminator 2 and everything, it's also like, those movies exist for a reason. They may not be real, but it's also like, well, this is what could potentially happen if we don't do it properly. So, I don't know. That's my only concern. It is kind of cool.
There's a beautiful solution to that problem, Bill. Simply do it properly.
But it's like, what is doing it properly, though?
Doing it properly.
So talk a little about giving them guns. Are you in favor of giving these things machine guns?
I mean, that depends.
Right.
I don't think they need machine guns to guard the Google building.
The Google building.
But
they're fucking strapped with RPGs and shit. We must defend the Google building.
But if the government gets really worried about Goldfinger and wants to deploy these things to Fort Knox,
what? Why Goldfinger?
Because he robbed Fort Knox in the movie.
What a weird. Okay, fine. So we're gonna have Goldfinger fight robots. All right, fine.
Yeah, why not?
And we're gonna send them with RPGs.
Goldfinger expects them to die.
Here's the thing. I guess in a battle situation where we know who the enemy is and you just send them out, I guess that's one thing. But it's when they start determining who the enemy is that it starts to get scary.
I mean, they're not programmed for that, though. These are not the helicarriers from Captain America 2.
Yeah, but aren't they, though? Aren't they, determining hand gestures? They're like, that motherfucker deserves to die.
No, it's just more like, hey, that guy is shaking his fist, or something. Or it's more like letting the robot be able to recognize, ooh, that person appears to be reaching for a fucking gun.
Let me call HQ. It'll take him 20 minutes to get here, and by the time, everybody will be dead, including us. And in the time it taught me to think that, everybody's dead.
But,
Mailed as a robot. See, Dylan, this sucks. Let's just hire security guards.
But they're so expensive, though.
Fair enough. So, yeah. Robots, are they the way of the future? Maybe.
I mean, I'm down for robots.
I'm of two minds about it. I think it's cool, but I think it's also kind of scary.
I embrace the world where Daleks guard buildings and humans slowly turn into the Borg. I'm okay with that.
I'm terrified of that because I like my life and I don't want Daleks to rule it. Speaking of Daleks, so Doctor Who season 8 is over.
Yeah,
so
I can't believe that Doctor
Who season 8 is so over. Quick.
I feel like it was just yesterday that I was waiting for Doctor Who Season 8 to begin.
Yeah, absolutely. Now it's done. Have you gone back at all yet and rewatched the season, having bearing the ending in mind?
I have not.
I did a little bit of it. I went back and rewatched Mummy and the Orient Express and Flatline. Those are two really good episodes, by the way. I still have the issue with Mummy and the Orient Express that the ending is really rushed, but it's a really good episode, aside from that. Flatline is genius, and officially one of my new favorite episodes of Doctor Who. Listen, I think I've watched Listen too much to the point where it's like, I've seen this too many times now. I get it.
I still have my problem with Listen. I feel like towards the end, it doesn't really know what it wants to do.
Right, it feels a little confused. I agree with that now. I haven't rewatched Robot of Sherwood. I'm sure I'll still have the issue of what is the story's bullshit.
What is the story's bullshit?
I don't know, dude.
Serious philosophical question from Bill Worster.
Yeah, exactly. We need to hire some armchair detectives to figure this out.
Or armchair robot detectives.
Whoa! I think that he is just not good with words. You know what, man? Fuck you. You're a robot. That is racism. That's not racism.
That's a much more practical application for robots. They should be detectives, man. Who else has better deduction?
I guess so. Yeah, well, fuck detectives. Let's just hire robots.
Let's just, you know what? Forget trying to be Batman. Let's build Batman.
Let's build Batman. Batbot. Dun, dun, dun. It's just a robot, driving up. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun. I'm Batbot.
From a group of people who enjoyed Breaking Bad, we bring you Building Batman. Starring Matthew.
I am the one who builds Batman.
Starring Matthew McConaughey.
As Bryan Cranston.
I was building Batman since long before anybody paid me to build Batman.
You know, in order to build Batman, you got a Batman build. That one doesn't even make any sense.
None of them do.
You know, in order to make sense, you have to not make sense. Matthew McConaughey.
You please just stop McConaugheying for 1 second.
You know, in order to stop McConaughey, you have to start McConaughey.
Damn it.
It's an endless circle.
I'd like to thank Jesus Christ for this Oscar.
Oh no. Here we go. Bring on the hate, motherfuckers.
We haven't given you an Oscar, Matthew. This is a terrible performance.
You know, sometimes in order to get an Oscar, you have to not get an Oscar.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I'd like to thank Jesus Christ for being Jesus Christ. You know, I was thanking Jesus Christ before I was paid to thank Jesus Christ.
Well, that's good, I suppose.
I guess that means that you're true.
I guess you're a good
You're
Christian.
a true, good, pure-hearted Christian. Oh. That's funny. So, Dylan.
So.
How about Matthew McConaughey?
How about him?
He's a strange man.
I enjoy celebrities who are a little bit insane. It adds something to the mystique.
Indeed. So, Dylan, I think that's about all we have to say on this week's episode of Demons from Outer Space. But I was wondering, maybe we should cover this after we stop recording, but we can certainly talk about it now. Should we do a Thanksgiving special next week, or should we just skip that? I think we should, given the prominence of last year's.
Yeah, we did one last year.
My thought was, and I don't think we should do this, but my thought was we should do a commentary on the Giant Claw. But we just did one for Godzilla vs. Megalon, so I think we should take a break from the commentaries for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So next week we'll do some other stuff, and we'll do a kind of casual, light Thanksgiving special, but it'll still be a Thanksgiving special. We're gonna record the show early in the week, as we're doing with this week, and it'll go up probably like the day before Thanksgiving, maybe the day of. It depends on what goes on, and it should be a good time. We'll figure out what we're gonna do then. But I thought maybe we could do a commentary on that. Maybe we'll save that for next year. Or maybe some other time. We'll see. I don't know.
It doesn't matter to me.
You watched The Giant Claw recently. Is it commentary worthy? Yeah, right?
Recently, I mean, it's been a while now. But I mean, yeah, I think you can get a lot of mileage just out of those effects alone.
All right, sounds good. So maybe next year.
The bird is big as a battleship.
Bird is big as a battleship. So maybe next year. But yeah, totally awesome. So, with that being said, I think that's going to do it for this week's episode of Demons from Outer Space. Do we have anything to announce?
I don't know, Bill. Do we have anything to announce?
Well, that's a complicated question. So, I know what you're all thinking. Where the hell is Godzilla Odyssey Issue 3? That is a great question. I wish I had an answer for you.
I was wondering the same thing, dear.
Yeah. I
Listener,
have been...
Whatever.
Yeah, dear reader, I read the sounds.
Well, I mean, readers of Odyssey, but right now you are listeners. You know who you are. Yeah,
don't listen. Don't be all judgmental of us. I don't know. I haven't had the time, sadly, to write. I don't want to make any promises that we can't keep or that I can't keep. So let's hold off on it for now. And we'll try and get it back on schedule, hopefully before Christmas vacation. And then during Christmas vacation, Dylan, we're going hard. We're gonna just knock it all out.
Indeed.
That's the plan. But until then, here's a question for you, Dylan. Where's the Dragon Ball Z review?
The Dragon Ball Z. I know exactly where the Dragon Ball Z review is. You ready for this? It's in my computer.
Wow! Whoa! Shocker.
Insights into logic.
When is it gonna be released to the good people?
It's gonna be released. In the foreseeable future.
See, Dylan, this is the difference. You have to slap a picture and audio together. I have to craft fiction. There is a distinction here.
I mean, true. But, and I'm going to think of something to follow up that but in just a second.
Damn, he made a good point. That's so rare these days.
Bill has a point.
His mind was so burnt out by all that weed. Why does everybody keep bringing that up?
Bill has a good idea. Someone alert the news media.
Somebody call the robots, and then they'll call HQ.
This could be a possible terror threat. How is this even?
He got weed. He got weed.
He got weed. He got weed.
Fuck.
It's a good thing you weren't pulled over when I was with you.
Yeah, you're an asshole. Anyway, well, we'll save all those announcements for some other time. But, kids, that's going to do it for this week's fabulous episode of the Demons from Outer Space, a.k.a. the wacky world of serial killers, with, of course, me, Bill Worcester, a.k.a. Zazibar, and Dylan McCandless.
I would like to quickly counter his point about crafting fiction by stating that there is a detailed outline already finished.
Well, I have to, write it out and shit, and that takes effort, and, I'm not all for that.
Here's the thing about effort. We suck at effort.
We really do. It's a problem.
I think that's the thing our fans that I don't understand why we have are aware of.
We're working on it. We're making very little progress. We are trying to be better. Anyway, so kids, until next time, thank you very much for listening. I'm Bill Worcester, a.k.a. Zazibar.
Super DM64.
And as it has been for over a year now, well over a year now, damn Germans, they be fucked up, and you see nothing because it's a podcast. So we're back for a brief addendum. Sorry everyone for the false ending. Maybe I've edited this in such a way where this happens before the ending, but we decided that we had
something happened and it requires our attention. We have sad news for the people.
Yeah, we have a reputation on Demons from Outer Space of talking about celebrities, and after we have talked about them, they tend to pass. And sadly,
I just love that that's our reputation. We're like,
yeah, right. Like of all the things that we could have possibly done, that is our reputation. So hang on, let me pull it up. I'm going to try and find it, and we will talk about it. So, Dylan, why don't you tell the good people the tragedy that struck in recent weeks?
Well, the world lost a hell of an entertainer.
Really one of the best. One of the absolute best.
One of the greatest entertainers of I think, Bill and I's generation. I mean, somebody whose sheer animal magnetism really shined through in all of his work.
Very, very true.
I am, of course, referring to the tragic loss at the young age of 20 years old of our dear friend Zabumafu.
Indeed. Sadly, we have lost the young lemur who of course played Zabumafu.
This is a sad day for America and therefore the world.
It really is really, really, really depressing. And I'm trying to find it, and I can't seem to find it. Here we go. I found the article about the death of the sad passing of Zubumafu.
I had no
This
idea.
Really
I had no idea before this happened, by the way, that Zubumafu and I were the same age.
Likewise. We're very close.
I feel closer to him than ever.
And now you feel like you're next. You were sick recently too, which is fucking scary.
He was so young, and then there was that split second where I thought it was Ebola. Let's be real.
Word. What? Word.
And you reported having a similar experience.
Yeah, indeed.
That awkward moment where you're like, oh shit, I might have Ebola.
So let's read this article, shall we? The lemur's name was of course not Zubumafu. It was Jovian,
which is also something I did not know.
I didn't know that either. I think we talked about that on the episode, but of course, the reason why this is major for the Demons from Outer Space is because we, of course, did a commentary on 2 episodes of Zubumafu a couple months ago during the summer when we were right before Gamma-Palooza. We did a commentary on a couple Zubumafu episodes.
Yes.
So people thought that this was shared on our timeline, so we thought it would be appropriate to discuss briefly on the show and pay tribute to Jovian.
If this damn lemur is not included in that tribute in the Oscars,
right? Yeah, or at least the fucking Golden Globes or the Emmys.
Give this damn lemur some praise. This damn lemur deserves all of your praise. Damn it.
Jovian was living at the Duke Lemur Center in Durham, North Carolina, when he passed away from kidney failure at the age of 20. The center said. Oh man, he was an alcoholic, I guess.
He was a prince among lemurs.
Yeah. Oh, that's really sad. He's a good-looking animal, man. That's really sad. The center published a lengthy obituary Tuesday, along with some comments from viewers who missed the cockerel sifaka, the scientific name for the animal. I love how they feel the need to point that out. Many Fox CT viewers have commented on our Facebook page about their sadness and the loss of Jovian. You can add your comments in the post at the bottom of this page. He was great to work with, said Martin Kratt, a Duke graduate who had volunteered at the Lemur Center as a student. He'd jump in through the window and we'd feed him mangoes or garbanzo beans, which would give him his superpowers. Sometimes, he didn't say that, I added that. Sometimes he'd grab our noses with those soft sifaka hands. He's getting a little awkward now.
Did he really say soft sifaka hand?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
That is another competitor for the episode title. Jovian leaves behind Dude, holy shit. Jovian leaves behind 7 children, 4 grandchildren, and 2 more grandchildren on the way, this center says. He was a busy man.
That lemur...
Dude, he was a pimp.
That lemur be pimping. I had always suspected as much.
Watching our young interns get excited over being in the presence of the real Zubumafu this summer made me realize just how lucky those of us at the Lemur Center were when we had the opportunity to get to know the real Jovian in his prime. Yeah, he was very casual in his everyday-to-day life. And he was a playful, gentle, intelligent animal and perhaps one of the best Sifaka series ever. All right. It's very sad.
I said a prince among lemurs.
Absolutely, a pinnacle of lemurtude, if you will.
I think we will all remember where we were the day that Zubumafu died.
I was at home.
Me as well. Huh?
Definitely not smoking weed.
A few people laughed. A few people cried.
Many of them were just silent. It's true. This is a truly sad day, though, in the history of the Demons from Outer Space. This is our 2nd celebrity death, Dylan. We have to fucking be careful with this shit. Our powers are great.
Fear us.
Fear us.
Don't fear her. That's stupid. Fear us.
No, fear us. Fear us just like you do those fucking robots calling HQ.
I mean, why would you fear her? That's a terrible episode.
But to be serious for a second, he really was, it's like, what's there to say? I mean, it was kind of like, Zubumafu was a big show in my childhood. I loved watching it. I was a big fan of animals as a kid, so it was, I was always very engaged with it in that way.
And then he grew up and realized, I hate animals.
No, he always kind of reminded me of my cats, because in terms of the way they characterize him on the show, like just the way he looked and moved, I was always very reminded of my cat, so I always felt a connection to him in that way.
I mean, dude,
and I've always had cats, so.
I loved this show as a child. I had a fucking Zaboomafoo stuffed animal. You know, I owned one of this motherfucker.
Yeah, really, it's like, this motherfucker had toys based off of him. He was a celebrity.
I mean, people might think, oh, it's a fucking lemur. You know what? Fuck you.
You know what? I'm going to take back everything we were joking about. This lemur really changed the world. He was a pinnacle of the entertainment industry, and he will be missed. So, thank you, Jovian, for your service in the entertainment industry, and I hope that you had a good life before your passing.
Stay pimpin'.
We will all miss you. So, Dylan, that's the sad bit of news that I wanted to cover before we before that I realized afterwards. So I wanted to throw that in quick. So just that's our little addendum to this episode. So future Bill, edit that however you see fit, and if you decide to put it afterwards, see you around, kids.
Obviously, our thoughts and prayers are with the family of Zaboomafoo.
Yeah, indeed.
All 7 of his little lemur children.
Indeed. All right. Well, good night, kids.